Imagine standing on the deck of a luxury cruise ship. The ocean is perfectly calm. The sky is clear. There isn't a single wave out of place. Hundreds of passengers are enjoying the view. Some are taking photos. Others are watching dolphins in the distance. It feels like just another peaceful day at sea. Then the water changes, not with a splash, not with a wave, but with a shadow so enormous that it stretches beneath the entire ship. At first, nobody understands what they're looking at. Some people think it's a cloud. Others believe it's an underwater rock. Then the shadow begins to move, slowly, silently. Following the ship, cameras come out. Passengers rush to the railings. Crew members stop what they're doing. No one speaks, because somewhere beneath thousands of tons of seawater, something impossible is swimming. Something that should have disappeared millions of years ago. Something larger than a city bus. Larger than most whales. The greatest shark to have ever lived. The Megalodon. In our world, this giant predator vanished around 3.5 million years ago. Changes in climate, falling ocean temperatures, disappearing prey, all slowly pushed the king of the oceans toward extinction. Eventually, it was gone. The oceans became quieter, safer. Humanity would one day sail across every sea without ever wondering if a monster larger than a school bus was hunting beneath the waves. But imagine another timeline. A world where the climate remained favorable, where giant whales continued to thrive, where the food chain never collapsed. A world where Megalodon survived. Not hidden, not mythical, not a conspiracy. Simply alive. Every major ocean on Earth would belong to a predator unlike anything humans have ever encountered. Shipping routes would change. Coastal cities would be built differently. Deep-sea exploration would become far more dangerous. Entire industries would evolve around avoiding one animal. Satellite systems would track its movements. Governments would establish exclusion zones across the oceans. Scientists would dedicate their lives to understanding the world's ultimate apex predator. Children would grow up learning where megalodons migrate, just as we learn whale migration routes today. Beaches would close during migration seasons. Fishermen would carry emergency warning systems. Every voyage across the ocean would begin with a single question: where was the nearest megalodon seen? But before we can understand how our world would change, we first need to understand one thing. Just how enormous was this animal? Really? Before we imagine a world where Megalodon still rules the oceans, we need to answer one important question. How big was it? Really? Because numbers alone don't tell the full story. Scientists estimate that an adult Megalodon could reach between 18 and 20 meters in length. That's nearly 65 feet. Longer than most city buses. Longer than a bowling lane. Longer than many yachts. It could weigh more than 60 tons. Imagine placing 3 fully grown African elephants on a scale. A single megalodon could outweigh all of them combined. Its mouth alone was enormous. Standing inside it, an average adult human wouldn't even touch both sides with outstretched arms. A small car could fit between its jaws, and those jaws were lined with hundreds of razor-sharp teeth. Some of them measured over 18 centimeters, nearly the length of a human hand. But size wasn't what made Megalodon terrifying. It was power. Scientists estimate its bite force may have exceeded 100,000 newtons, several times stronger than that of a Tyrannosaurus rex, strong enough to crush the bones of large whales with ease. Every attack was devastating. One powerful bite, and the hunt could already be over. Fossilized whale skeletons discovered around the world still carry the scars, deep bite marks preserved for millions of years. Silent evidence that something unimaginably powerful once ruled Earth's oceans. Unlike today's great white sharks, Megalodon wasn't hunting seals. It hunted giants, massive whales, ancient dolphins, large marine mammals weighing dozens of tons. To Megalodon, a fully grown whale was an impossible challenge. It was dinner, and that's exactly why it became the undisputed king of prehistoric seas. But imagine if that king never lost its throne. Millions of years pass. The climate changes. Ice ages come and go. Humans evolve. We build cities. We invent ships. We cross every ocean on Earth. All the while, beneath the waves, Megalodon survives. It adapts. It follows the whales across the globe, generation after generation, growing larger, smarter, perfectly adapted to a changing planet. By the time the first wooden ships leave the shores of Europe, sailors already know the legends. Entire crews disappear without a trace. Ships report impossible shadows beneath the water. Fishermen refuse to enter certain regions of the ocean. Maps begin to mark dangerous waters with warnings. Do not sail here. The giant hunts below. At first, people believe these are only myths, just stories invented by frightened sailors. But every generation tells the same tales. Massive fins breaking the surface, whales fleeing in panic, strange waves appearing on calm seas. Something is still out there. And as humanity enters the modern age, we finally gain the technology to see what has always been hiding beneath us. Sonar, satellites, deep-sea drones, high-resolution underwater cameras. For the first time in history, the ocean begins to reveal its greatest secret. Humanity is no longer asking, did Megalodon survive? We are asking something much more frightening. How many are there? By the 21st century, humanity would have accepted one simple fact. We are no longer the only apex species on Earth. On land, humans rule, but in the open ocean, something else sits at the top of the food chain. Every child would learn about Megalodon in school, not as an extinct prehistoric giant, but as a living animal, just as children today learn about lions, elephants, or whales. Except this predator would be unlike anything else on the planet. Oceans would be divided into risk zones, green zones, yellow zones, red zones, and then black zones. Waters where Megalodon activity is so common that entering them without authorization is illegal. Satellites would monitor whale migrations every hour, not just to protect whales, but because wherever the whales go, Megalodon follows. Cargo ships crossing the Pacific will receive live updates every few minutes. Large predator detected. Course adjustment recommended. Modern ships wouldn't simply avoid storms. They would avoid Megalodon migration routes. Entire shipping lanes would be redesigned around one animal. Oil platforms would look completely different. Massive underwater steel barriers would surround their foundations. Constant sonar systems would scan the surrounding waters. Security helicopters would patrol overhead. Underwater drones would never stop watching. Every strange movement beneath the waves would trigger an alert. Beaches would also change. Lifeguards wouldn't only watch for dangerous currents. Giant radar towers would constantly scan offshore waters. Warning sirens could empty an entire beach in minutes. Electronic signs might display a simple message. Megalodon detected. Leave the water immediately. Tourism would adapt. Glass-bottom submarines would offer expensive expeditions to observe these giants from a safe distance. Seeing a Megalodon would become one of the rarest and most unforgettable experiences on Earth. Documentary filmmakers would spend years searching for a single encounter. Entire television channels would broadcast live migration seasons. Millions of people would watch online, waiting for a glimpse of the ocean's greatest predator. Scientists would know every individual by name. GPS transmitters attached to enormous dorsal fins would allow researchers to follow their journeys across entire oceans. Some megalodons might travel more than 10,000 kilometers every year, crossing from one continent to another, following ancient migration routes older than human civilization itself. Despite their terrifying reputation, governments would work tirelessly to protect them. Why? Because removing the largest predator from the ocean could trigger ecological collapse. Megalodon would regulate whale populations, shape migration patterns, influence marine ecosystems on a planetary scale. Without it, the balance of the oceans could begin to fall apart. Humans wouldn't simply fear Megalodon. We would depend on it, even if most people never realized it. But there would always be one place where no technology could guarantee your safety. The deep ocean, thousands of meters below the surface, where sunlight never reaches, where sonar echoes fade into darkness, where even the most advanced submarines can see only a tiny fraction of the world around them. Somewhere in that endless black water, An ancient predator would still patrol its kingdom, silent, patient, almost invisible. And every expedition into the deep would carry the same unsettling thought: what if something much larger is already watching us? Human history has always been shaped by the creatures we feared. Wolves changed the way we hunted. Horses transformed transportation. Rats spread deadly diseases. But no animal in history would influence civilization quite like the Megalodon. After centuries of coexistence, humanity would stop asking how to destroy it. Instead, we would learn how to live alongside it. International laws would protect the largest predators on Earth. Entire sections of the world's oceans would become permanent marine sanctuaries. Not for whales, not for dolphins, but for Megalodon itself. Fishing vessels would avoid these protected waters. Commercial shipping would reroute thousands of kilometers to prevent unnecessary encounters. At first, these restrictions would seem expensive, but scientists would soon discover something remarkable. Wherever Megalodon populations remained healthy, the surrounding ecosystem flourished. Whale populations stayed balanced. Fish migrations remained stable. Coral reefs recovered more quickly. The oceans became healthier because their greatest predator was still doing its job. Humanity would finally understand a lesson nature had known for millions of years. Remove the apex predator, and everything below it begins to change. Universities around the world would create entirely new fields of study. Megalodon biology, Megalodon behavior, Megalodon migration science. Young researchers would dream of becoming the first person to observe a newborn Megalodon in the wild. Marine documentaries would become global events. A single clear recording of an adult hunting would attract hundreds of millions of viewers. News channels would interrupt regular programming whenever a tagged Megalodon approached a populated coastline. Social media would explode with live tracking maps. People would check Megalodon locations every morning, just as many people check the weather today. Technology would evolve around the ocean. Cargo ships would carry powerful underwater scanners capable of detecting movement several kilometers away. Artificial intelligence would analyze sonar data in real time. Smart navigation systems would automatically reroute ships around dangerous waters. Even underwater internet cables, carrying nearly all global communications, would be built with reinforced protective systems designed to withstand accidental encounters with giants of the deep. The military would also adapt. Naval exercises would avoid active migration corridors. Aircraft carriers would deploy autonomous underwater drones before entering unfamiliar waters. Every submarine captain would respect one unwritten rule: if the sonar detects something larger than expected, leave immediately. Yet despite all our technology, despite satellites, despite artificial intelligence, despite fleets of autonomous drones, humanity would never fully control the ocean, because more than 80% of the deep sea remains unexplored. Every expedition would still descend into darkness, not knowing exactly what waited below. And perhaps that uncertainty would be the greatest reminder of all. Even in the age of advanced technology, Earth still belongs to nature. We may dominate the land. We may fly through the skies. We may even walk on the moon. But beneath the waves, there would always be one kingdom where humans are only visitors, and its king would still be the Megalodon. Imagine the year 2200. Humanity has achieved things our ancestors could barely imagine. We have built cities beneath the sea. We have established permanent colonies on the moon. Artificial intelligence manages entire transportation networks. Autonomous ships cross every ocean without a single crew member on board. Yet even in this incredibly advanced future, one ancient giant still commands our respect: the Megalodon. It has survived ice ages, shifting continents, changing oceans, and the rise of humanity itself. While civilizations appeared and disappeared, it continued its endless journey through the world's oceans. By now, every known Megalodon carries a satellite tracking tag. Their migrations are broadcast in real time. Scientists can predict where they will travel weeks in advance. Children in classrooms follow their routes across digital maps. Some of the largest individuals have become world famous. They even have names: Tourists travel across the globe hoping to catch a glimpse of these magnificent predators from the safety of reinforced observation submarines. For many people, seeing a megalodon with their own eyes becomes the experience of a lifetime, not because they want to conquer it, but because they want to witness one of nature's greatest creations. Marine reserves have expanded across entire oceans. Fishing is carefully regulated. Whale populations are healthier than they have been for centuries. The balance between predator and prey has been preserved. Humanity finally learned that protecting the ocean's greatest hunter also protects the ocean itself. But even with all our knowledge, there is one thing that never changes: respect. Every captain knows it. Every diver understands it. Every scientist accepts it. The sea is not ours. We are guests. And like every guest, we survive by respecting the rules of the place we visit. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson this alternate world could teach us. Humans often believe we stand at the top of nature, but the truth is, our dominance has always depended on where we are. On land, we built civilizations. We built skyscrapers. We connected continents. We reached the moon. But beneath the waves, another ruler still waits. Silent, powerful, perfectly adapted, the undisputed king of the ocean. And maybe that's exactly how it should be, because a world where Megalodon survived would not simply be a more dangerous world. It might also be a healthier one, a world where humanity never forgot that nature is far older, far stronger, and far more mysterious than we often imagine. Every voyage across the sea would remind us that beneath the surface, there are forces we can understand but never truly control. So the next time you stand on a quiet beach, watching gentle waves roll toward the shore, imagine a different Earth. An Earth where, somewhere beyond the horizon, a shadow nearly 20 meters long glides silently through the deep, a creature older than human civilization, a predator that never disappeared, a living legend. And ask yourself, would humanity still rule the planet if the true king of the ocean had never fallen? Thank you for watching. And remember, the greatest mysteries on Earth may still be hidden beneath the waves.